Good evening, everyone. Fox 17 Code Red Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan with you here. And, there's a lot going on as we get towards the weekend. Not one, but two big rounds of severe weather. So I wanted to go a little deeper into detail, more so than what I'm allowed as far as time constrictions go for on air. On the internet, we can go forever. So I wanted to break down a little more what we could see, potentials, limitations with the first round and then the second round. Both of these on Saturday, by the way. So very late Friday night into Saturday is going to be round one. Round two will be Saturday afternoon into Saturday evening. So I want to talk more about those two rounds and what we could potentially see as we head into Saturday here. So I'm sharing this to my Facebook page really fast here. Let's do a deep dive into our severe weather risk. I can't multitask. For Saturday. All right. So I'm going to share that. And let's start with what we can expect with round one. So again, I said that we're looking at two rounds of severe weather. That first round is going to come in very late Friday night into Saturday morning. This is more so going to be, and I'm going to move this so you can see the other part of the screen here, more so for very early Saturday morning. So the time frame is going to be 12 a.m. Saturday through 6 a.m. Saturday. This one is going to be a more broken line, and it's a little more conditional on a couple things happening or not happening. If all the ingredients come together, it could be, unfortunately, a pretty active night for Middle Tennessee. And the highest risk is right now level 3 out of 5 for our western counties along and west of I-65. So again, I mentioned that there are a few things that need to come together for this to occur. The storm potential and storm fuel is there. So we are looking at the potential for a very active night, including damaging winds 70 miles per hour or more. The potential for a strong tornado or two is also possible. And that's what this graphic here shows. This is again, all for the first round. This is our tornado threat as we head into early Saturday morning. So 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. Saturday. This yellow line that you see here, the yellow colored area, is a 10% hatched risk for tornadoes. 10% is the yellow, and what we can't get on our computer here is that hatched area, but that is something the Storm Prediction Center has put out for the yellow area only. That hatched area means there is a possibility that we could find a strong tornado in this yellow area. The yellow area indicates a 10% risk of a tornado within 25 miles of a point. So all these colors are coordinated with this 25 miles to a point. So the brown indicates a 5% risk of a tornado within 25 of a point, and green indicates a 2% risk of a tornado within 25 miles of a point. 10% is an elevated risk, and I hate the fact that we are dealing with an overnight event, truly an overnight event. I don't see a lot of convection with this until after midnight, probably closer to maybe 1, 2 o'clock in the morning in our western counties. Could be closer to 3, 4 a.m. until we see showers and storms here in Nashville. Now, again, I mentioned that this is a broken line. Not everybody will see severe weather with this round. So where we do see severe storms, and if all the ingredients come together, it could be an active night. So this is sort of a worst case scenario for Friday night. We're showing you the potential, what could happen for early Saturday morning. Some things that I want to keep you in mind of for Friday night, Saturday morning. The cap could play spoiler. So this is what I'm talking about, where all these things have to come together. The ingredients for storms are there, but typically we'll get what's called a cap. There's a lid on the pot. If you think about a stove, a pot on the stove, and you have a lid on top if you're boiling peas or something like that. So as long as that lid is on, the steam can't escape and those storms can't form. So as long as we have the cap, we're in good shape. It'll keep those storms from forming. If the cap erodes and goes away, that's unfortunately where we could have those storms developing, and they could develop fast. So this is sort of a boom or bust potential, meaning that if the storms are able to form, it could be an active night for us. And again, that highest risk will be west to 65, with the line weakening as we go into Saturday morning. So I'm going to start with future track and we'll take you through Friday. Notice Friday afternoon is nice. We're looking at sunshine for Friday tomorrow, breezy winds picking up throughout the day. In fact, windy conditions possible with gusts as high as 35, maybe 40 miles an hour as we get closer to evening. So it will be breezy for Friday. It's going to be sunny and it'll be warm. Temperatures are expected to be in the low 80s. So a really warm and breezy day for tomorrow. The storms again are not expected until overnight into early Saturday morning. So here's 11 p.m. and this is brand new, fresh model data that has just come in. You can see a couple showers and storms here. These guys that are out ahead of the main line in what will likely be a pretty unstable atmosphere will need to be watched closely because those will have the potential for rotating. So that would be where a possible tornado could be within these little cells that are out ahead of the main line. So that's 9, 10, 11 p.m. Notice though it stays pretty broken all the way through midnight. So here's the line. It's still well west of us at midnight and expecting it to push through as you get more into overnight hours. So here's Saturday 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. I'd still say that the potential for severe weather exists up to this point to the I-65 corridor. As that line pushes more east toward the plateau, it's likely that we will start to see that line break apart and won't be as much of a severe threat as we get closer to the morning hours. So that's round one. Again, it's not widespread, but where we do see storms pop, if they're able to form and grow, they could turn severe quickly. And the main threats continue to be damaging wind and the potential for a couple strong tornadoes west of I-65. So there is a tornado risk very early Saturday morning. You want to make sure that you have multiple ways to stay alert. A weather app, making sure your WIA alerts on your phone are turned on. That's like the Amber alerts that you get over your phone. Weather radio, and staying up to date with social media, on-air television, and of course online as well. So that's round one. Let's get into round two. This one is more widespread, I'm afraid, and I think will be more active for us here in Middle Tennessee as opposed to very early Saturday morning. So Saturday setup here, this is what we call the day 3 outlook. So we're still a few days out, and we're looking at here a level 3 out of 5 risk. There is a level 4 risk set up just to our south. This is going to be where the highest severe weather risk is for Saturday, taking shape to be potentially a major severe weather outbreak, unfortunately, in the deep south, Mississippi, parts of Louisiana, Alabama, but we are fairly close to that. And so it's close enough that we need to keep a real close eye. What we're dealing with up here is still going to be an issue, I think, throughout Saturday afternoon and Saturday early evening. But some of these long track tornadoes could be possible here coming in out of northern Alabama, could move into our southern counties, potentially again. That's all if these storms fire and get going through the mid to late morning hours on Saturday. So timing still more broad for Saturday. We'll zoom in a little closer here so you can see all of us under a level 3 out of 5 risk. I've already seen questions on my Facebook page. Could we see this risk increase? Could we see a moderate risk, the red area that is in Alabama now? Yeah, it's possible, I think, but I wouldn't focus too much on the level of risk. We just want to focus on the impact, and whether or not we are upgraded or not, the risk and the impacts remain the same. So 12 noon to 12 a.m. Saturday, still somewhat broad as far as timing goes. We'll get a little bit better timing for tomorrow, or for Saturday, for on tomorrow, for on Friday. Damaging winds, 60, 80 miles per hour. Strong tornadoes could be possible, especially in the afternoon. And then golf ball size hail also possible. So all modes of severe weather. And on top of that, I think as the afternoon progresses, evening, we'll be looking at a heavy rain event setting up for us. It could lead to some flash flooding concerns. So within round 2, there are 2 rounds of thunderstorms that'll be possible. The first one coming in the afternoon, 12 noon through 4 or 5 o'clock. And then a line will develop in our western counties and sweep across the area. Our classic QLCS, that often brings us damaging wind gusts. Tornadoes can be embedded within that line, but they are not typically as strong as what we could potentially see in the afternoon. So that first round in the afternoon between 12 noon and we'll say 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, we'll have the higher potential for long track tornadoes as opposed to what we'll see later in the night, which would transition more into a wind threat, a spin-up tornado threat within the line, and then heavy rain. And that's where I think our flooding threat is going to become more of an issue for us. So overall, again, a very active day for Saturday. I wanted to point this out as well. And I'm not showing you all these graphics to scare you, because that's the last thing I want to do, is to make you more anxious about Saturday. These are all to show you what is possible for Saturday and basically how to prepare. So Saturday afternoon too, the Storm Prediction Center has gone ahead and issued a significant severe weather event possible for Middle Tennessee. What this just means is that where we are located within Middle Tennessee, we're on the northern fringe of where the highest risk of severe weather will be. So there's a 30% chance of significant severe storms, high wind in excess of 70 miles per hour, a strong tornado, EF2 or greater, possible within 25 miles of a point. So again, 30% chance within 25 miles of downtown Nashville, if that makes sense. Within 25 miles of downtown Gallatin or Murfreesboro. You get the idea. So overall, this is just telling us again that we are in for a very active day on Saturday. And this stretches, we're on that northern edge. This stretches all the way through our southern counties or southern states, where again, Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana have the highest risk overall for severe weather going through Saturday afternoon. And one more thing actually that I can show you here. This is one of our models, in-house models, that gives us an idea of where the risk of rotation will be within storms. So this is pretty neat actually. It can tell us where storm ingredients are showing the most sign for rotating cells within thunderstorms here. So we'll look through Friday and Saturday, or Saturday early morning and then again into Saturday afternoon. So here's Friday evening. The first round, round one, is going to be problematic for those in the Boot Heel of Missouri, West Tennessee, Southern Illinois, into Indiana, and even Northeast Arkansas for Friday night, creeping more into the overnight hours. Notice as we get deeper into Friday night though, those red areas, again, those are higher risks for rotation. Yellow, kind of a light to moderate risk, and orange is high. Orange and red is high. But as we move forward here through the overnight, there is some risk for rotation. So there is some storm juice here for rotating storms very early Saturday morning. That's this first risk that we're talking about here. So again, we don't want to let our guard down on tomorrow night. About 24 hours from now, we will need to be watching for severe storm potential. But this again is going to be more of a broken line. You may or may not see severe weather very early Saturday morning. It's going to be more isolated across Middle Tennessee. But if the storms are able to fire up, where we see those storms fire up, they will be able to do so quickly, because there's a lot of ingredients for severe weather in play. So they'll be able to fire up and continue to march through Middle Tennessee for a couple of hours, I would say, before it starts to weaken going into early Saturday. So that's round one. Again, more of that storm energy or risk of rotation, where we could find rotating storms near the Mississippi River, the Boot Heel of Missouri, into Illinois, southern Indiana, West Tennessee. This is why they're under a moderate risk for severe weather, level 4 out of 5 for Friday, and then late Friday night. We'll go to round two. So beginning Saturday morning, here's mid-morning, here's noon, and you can see where easily the highest risk for rotating storms, highest risk of severe weather in the Deep South through Mississippi, Alabama, but don't want to ignore some of these little eddies that are occurring here throughout Middle Tennessee. So here's noon, and we're still seeing some signs of, again, storm rotation that would be possible with these cells if they're able to fire up. And then we get more into the evening. So here's 3, 4, and see some of that is starting to creep more into Middle Tennessee. But again, we'll zoom in a little bit more so you can see better. More of this is going to be in Mississippi and Alabama for that round 2, that afternoon round. But I do think we're going to be dealing with quite a bit of active weather for Saturday. Regardless of how strong it is, heavy rain could be a problem for us because there's a lot of rainfall coming in, good 2-3 inches plus in some spots, and that could easily lead to some flash flooding concerns. So with that in mind, we're going to walk through all of future track here, and I'm going to extend this out all the way through Sunday. So we'll walk you through if you're just joining us again. This is round 1. Friday is going to be grand. Highs in the low 80s, sunshine, winds pick up throughout the day. It will be breezy. We get into Friday evening, and there are a few cells that we need to watch ahead of the main line, which will be broken coming through overnight. So again, isolated activity, but where those storms fire up, they will be able to fire easily and produce severe weather. A lull in activity for Saturday mid-morning, and a big question here could determine how much severe weather we see for Saturday afternoon and how severe it will be, how cloudy it stays in the morning, how much rain we see in the morning. If it stays mainly dry, if we see any clearing, that's not good news. We want to keep the sky cloudy if we can, but there's so much energy in the atmosphere right now that could even not matter as much. But rain would help stabilize the atmosphere a little bit. For Saturday morning. I don't see a ton of rainfall right now. Saturday morning, I think there'll be a lull in activity, give or take a few showers. As we get towards late morning, 10, 11, we'll start to see some cells coming in out of northern Alabama. Severe weather will likely be ongoing in northern Alabama at this point. So even these storms here would need to be monitored pretty closely for severe potential. And again, these storms, as we go into the early part of the afternoon, would have the greatest risk for tornado potential for Saturday. So the potential even for a stronger tornado could exist for Saturday afternoon. This is 12 noon, and these cells are pretty scattered in nature here. So what we don't want to see for Saturday are these little cells. You see how they're just kind of out by themselves? Those would be storms that would have potential to be strong. Severe with high wind and tornado potential as well. We get later in the afternoon and more showers and storms move through. Notice as we head towards 3 o'clock, widespread showers and storms possible. All of this containing heavy rain. The potential for tornadoes will exist. And I would say probably as we get more into late afternoon, this will be when we'll start to see the line congeal. Or these storms congeal into a line. So they will start off as a clusters of showers and storms or individual cells, and eventually throughout the day I expect them to begin to come together and form a line. At that point, our risk then begins to shift more from tornado potential to wind threat along with heavy rain. And that'll be what we get as we get more into the evening hours. Here's 5 o'clock, that's a lot of rain. And then 8 p.m. for Saturday, I would say by 10 o'clock, we're starting to see that risk come to an end. Some showers here and storms possible potentially. This may actually be the front that the model is picking up on there. So I would say through midnight is going to be the time frame that we need to stay weather aware. So that's a long time, between 12 noon on Saturday to midnight early Sunday morning for round 2. So if you're just joining us again, round 1 will be very early Saturday morning. This is the timing for the first round. It'll be more broken. It'll be more isolated. You may or may not see severe weather with this first round, but where those storms form, they will be capable of producing severe weather. 12 a.m. to 2 in purple, 2 a.m. to 4 in blue, and 4 a.m. to 6 for the pink. For Saturday's timing, we will have a more detailed timing like this tomorrow, just so we can get a better idea, a better handle on exact timing on when we may see the line coming through versus these scattered showers and storms that could have higher tornado potential. So that's what I have for you as far as severe weather chances go. As always, make sure you have those ways to stay alert. It's going to be fairly active. and just making sure that you are staying aware of what's going on for Saturday. I know it's a big day. A lot of folks are going to be downtown, SEC tournament going on, and just in general, it's the weekend, and you're just you're with your family, and you just want to chill out. So just make sure that you're staying aware throughout the weekend of weather that will be coming in very early again, when you go to bed Friday night, and then once again for Saturday afternoon into Saturday evening. I'll have more for you coming up tonight at 9 o'clock. I've got even more data and graphics that I've been working on for today. So be sure to tune in tonight at 9. Until then, I hope everyone is having a great night. By the way, the lunar eclipse is going on tonight. You may get lucky. I had a couple questions on this too, but I've been so focused on severe weather. You may get lucky tonight with cloud cover, just because the cloud cover is broken for the most part, and tomorrow it should be mainly sunny. But we're expecting that lunar eclipse timing. Let me pull that up real fast since I'm talking about it right now. Lunar eclipse timing will be after midnight, so max viewing at 1:26 Friday morning. If you want to set your alarm, maybe poke your head outside or look at a satellite to see if we're kind of in a clearing. It will be full. It'll be 100% covered. The blood worm moon, total lunar eclipse going on. And reminder, you don't need eye protection for this one. Only need eye protection for a solar eclipse when you're looking at the sun. But at night, don't need to worry about that. So you're looking at the moon, no eye protection is needed. Begins at 12:11 in the morning tonight, overnight into early Friday. Max coverage at 1:26. Totality for 65 minutes, so a good hour. So check it out. You may get lucky. I'd set your alarm if you're interested enough to get up and check it out. So again, thanks for tuning in tonight. We will have more on our severe potential going into the weekend, coming up as we head into the next couple of days. Thanks for tuning in.